Hello everybody and welcome to the next episode of our Splattercat's Indie Shorts. This game is a really good one. I'm going to preface and let you know how excited I am to play this game on camera for you guys. We're going to be playing Reprisal today, and Reprisal is a very lightweight, you can play it in 15 minutes, strategy game that's loosely based on Populous, a game that I played a lot when I was a kid with my Sega Genesis, and this is a game that was very close to my heart. I still have it to this day, and I'm very excited to show you this game, so I hope you enjoy it. So what is Reprisal? Well, the basic storyline is that you are an outcast god or tribal leader with magic powers, and you're coming back to gain your reprisal. So you're coming back to burn all the heretics and just destroy them all for doubting you. Apparently you weren't answering prayers, you weren't doing something that is expected of a good god. I don't know. You weren't doing what you were supposed to, and so they kicked you out, and you start out on a little island, and you've got to make a comeback, and you've got to conquer the world using the powers that they give you. Now, the game does have a campaign. There's not a whole lot of storyline that I've seen so far. It more or less just walks you through the various aspects of the game. Now, this is one that I think deserves a tutorial, and I do wish they had a tutorial mode, because they don't really explain how things work very well when you first start the game, and I wish that they did. But after playing with the game for a little while, it's pretty easy to pick up. You just got to fiddle with things for a little bit, and I may consider doing a tutorial for you guys so that you can get better at it. Another thing that I wish it had is that I wish it had multiplayer, but before we go into all the foibles that it has, let's play the game. So we're going to play a skirmish today just to get you situated and get you a feel for how the game plays. Now, it randomly generates, and I do wish that I could generate a map with the settings that I wanted, but we have to sit here and we're just going to play around and see if we can get things to generate in the fashion that we want. Just keep randomly generating maps. We're the blue dot, and everyone else is either green, yellow, or red. Now, this map sucks. This map is going to heavily favor red. Red is going to dominate this map, and you'll see why once we get started. So it takes a little bit. The map generator is not infallible. This one, we are just going to get stomped because we're right in the center of just everyone rolling out on us. Now, this one, hey, this one looks pretty good. So let's see what we can do here. Now, down here, you'll see in these spheres, they've got a number of spells listed. They don't tell you what the spells do. Actually, I'm going to do a different map. We're going to try and do one that's a little smaller, I think. I don't want to go up against, like, thousands of people. And I apologize, I probably should have generated one of these before. There we go. This is the map right here. Now, there's not a lot of magic spells on this map, so this one's not going to be very interesting, so never mind. So we get one map that I actually like, but it's got no spells that we can use. We're too close right there. I'll win that one in like 30 seconds. And so as you can see, this is one of the major... There we go. This is a map that we can play around with. So I'm going to take it a little slow. And it says to begin your surprisal. So your surprisal. Surprise! No, your reprisal. So you move around the map with WASD, and you can see that we've got a selected area. And what this game is all about, and you'll apologize, we have to get moving, because the game is very much about who gets things done first. And so the game is about terraforming. At its most basic, simple level, you're evening out the terrain. And the reason for doing this is because, as you can see, your city grows and gets more powerful as you go around. So you start with a little house if you don't have space, and as you make everything level, as you level out all the land, you end up with larger spaces. And if you do well enough, you'll see that they can actually just found larger cities instantly, and that's a large part of how the game functions. So I'm going to go around the edges of my island, because you can see if we go over here and look at what red's doing, they're doing the exact same thing, and we're actually way behind right now. We're not doing so well, but we've got tricks up our sleeve to defeat them. So as you complete cities, settlers will go out and they'll start new cities. So you want to work around the edges. As you see new cities come up, you do want to keep them well stocked with extra space so that they'll send out that new townsfolk and allow you to expand quicker. Why do you want to do this, you might ask, though? So why do I care that my city expands? Well, A, it gives you more soldiers. Each city produces a couple soldiers that will then go out and try and settle in accordance with the actions that you give them here at the top, which we'll talk about in just a second. Now, right there I missed, and that's one of my main complaints about the game right now, is that sometimes it's difficult to tell whether something is upraised or lowered, but that comes down to the graphical style. It's a limitation of the engine, it's a limitation of the way that everything is designed, and I think if I do that right there, those will grow and merge into one another. Yeah, fantastic. So we want to keep everything moving. You'll see we got a little house over here, and I don't know if this one will be able to turn into a big city, but at bare minimum we can merge it with another one. Now, why do you want your cities to be building up very quickly? Well, you want to even out the space, and you want things to be building up quickly for you for one main reason, because it gives you more mana. You see this ticker right here? It goes up quicker the more citizens you have, so it kind of functions in that same way that the game did in Black and White, where the more people you have, the more population you have, the more faith they have, and the more mana it gives you, and you can exchange those for spells. Now, we are going to put a damper on these guys right here, and we're going to mess with their lives a little bit. We're going to go to our menu, and actually there's not a whole lot that we can spend on. And as you can see, they're building towards us. They are going to try and invade us. So before things get too rowdy, let's talk about the and they made it in. So actually, let's talk about the actions we can take. So they're actually attacking us right now, so we need to stop them. And since they're all coming right through here, I'm going to cast a fire rain, and you'll see that's going to burn up most of their attackers. They're all going to get annihilated. And so hopefully we can defend ourselves and keep ourselves from getting torn up. There's actions you can take up here at the top of the menu. So one is make settlements, which is what we've been doing up until now. There's attack. So we're going to draw in all of our forces to attack right now because we've got major battles on our hand, and I'm just going to keep smoking them as I've got them in this little area. We've got this little isthmus here. We've got this little land bridge that they're forced to come through, and so as long as I've got mana, I'm going to keep burning them out because I want to put a blunt on their attack. And so this is where the strategy comes in, is when you know you should use mana on things and when you shouldn't. And so we're retaking our land now. We've got everybody set to attack, so what that means is they're going to go pick a fight with the nearest settlement. The third one right here is gather at waypoint, and this serves an important function. When gathered at a waypoint, they will select a leader. And if they don't, you can say locate leader right here, and they will actively find a leader. I'm going to go back to building settlements for now. I'm not going to send them on the attack just yet. I don't want to wipe out the heretics too quickly because I want you guys to get a feel for the gameplay. Now, why do you want a hero, you might ask? Well, you can turn your hero using a spell like this, or let's see if we've got wind hero too. We do. We've got wind hero and we've got fire hero. You can convert your leader into a monolithic god of death. So he'll become like a fire golem or a wind golem who will go out and annihilate your foes. You can see we've taken a couple buildings right here, and so we've got our own little incursion going, so we're winning. That was looking a little nasty at first, but we're doing pretty well as the crow flies. So we're doing pretty well as far as things are concerned. So we're going to go to our Earth menu, and let's continue terraforming. Now, if you want to set a waypoint, let's talk about that. Setting waypoints are done with this star right here. It costs you 60 mana, and you can place a waypoint, and then once you select that, they'll all gather. So let's go do that. So you can see here we have a new leader already, so we can get rid of that and go back to make settlements. And I'm going to make him into a fire hero, so let's go. And you'll see here he's turned into this little demon guy, and he's just going to roll out on our enemies. He's going to just run a train on any of our foes that are nearby. He can wipe out entire cities on his own. He can just basically put a boot in the ass of anyone that tries to get in our face. Now, I know that I've said we aren't set to attack, but our townies are expanding all on their own. And I said townies there. Our civilians, our little populate guys, are going to go out and handle their business. Now, you need to stay on top of terraforming. Don't give up, because you never know when your enemy's going to flip things around on you. So you'll see all these little houses that we're capturing. Right there, I built that city to their benefit. That was a noob mistake on my part. But I am going to continue trying to grow all these little houses that we've captured so that we can have frontline settlements that can actually get in the mix and throw down with our foes. In terms of controls, you can terraform as long as you have the spell selected. It costs you 10 mana to raise ground. It costs you 20 mana to lower ground. Right-click lowers ground. Left-click raises the ground. So it's pretty easy to catch on to. Once you get a feel for the gameplay, it's very, very fluid. And they've sold over 4 million copies of this game from what I've heard, so they're doing very well. I need to send ourselves on the attack now because we are face-to-face with our enemies. And before you go into any attack, what you want to do is let's just level the playing field a little bit. So we're going to put a lightning storm right there. It's going to destroy their buildings. The lightning storm, I've noticed, is very good at killing buildings, not so good at killing soldiers. So if you're trying to deter the enemy using a lightning storm, put it on their buildings because that'll slow down their mana flow and it'll give you a pretty good advantage in terms of what spells they can drop on you. One thing that I would change about the AI is that they aren't aggressive enough with spells. They do cast them on you now and again. Like right here, you'll see they've put a volcano on us. We need to fix that. And I was actually thinking about dropping one on them, so let's consider that. It's going to be tit for tat right now, and we've got a lot of tat to give, so they better supply with the other half. Now, the problem with these volcanoes is we now can't build on this, so we need to even this out. And so let's lower the ground. We're just going to go through and just bulldoze this thing over here. And so we'll get rid of it. They've also dropped a number of firestorms on us, and you can see those just kind of roll around randomly, but I'm thinking they don't have very much mana at the moment because they aren't dropping the kind of heavy-hitting spells that we can drop on them. This ground right here that's red can't be built on for a little bit, so we're going to go over here and focus our development on these guys just to make sure that we're still supplying ourselves with soldiers, but I think the battle is probably more or less won. Yeah, so you'll see over here we've pretty much conquered their entire landmass, and this is one of the features that I very much like about the game. It's over very, very quickly. The game plays rapidly. Now, the more players you have, the more complicated it gets. You have to balance putting pressure on one enemy versus putting pressure on another. Which spells do you drop on which force? Because typically they're all going to be moving in on you and crowding you. They tend to focus their fire on you as a player and not so much on each other as AIs. Now, that's not to say that they don't fight other AI. They do. They do fight each other, and God, we just have a blue azure stream of death rolling out right here, and this is pretty much what every victory is going to look like. It's either going to be you winning or them winning, and once everyone has been converted to your faith, you've won, and you've conquered the island. So let's talk about the game in total. I'm just going to play an extra game here in the background while I talk about it. So let's talk about the graphics. The graphics are very charming, and I like them. They remind me a lot of Super Brothers. If you've ever played that game, the graphics are very reminiscent of Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery, and I like that. I like that retro throwback to the old days of Populous. In terms of sound, the soundtrack is amazing. If you're into chiptunes, it was done by a professional, I forget the guy's name, but it was done by somebody that makes chiptunes for a living. And so you're getting professional quality, Nintendo-esque 16-bit, maybe Sega Genesis quality, because I don't remember the Nintendo putting out some of the various sound effects that you're getting in this game, but I do remember them from the Sega Genesis. So the sound is very cool. I like it very, very much. This is a game that I can heartily endorse to you. I would give it just stars across the board. Check it out. It will occupy you if you are a fan of Populous. That's the big one. If you're a fan of Populous or Lemmings or anything like that from back in the day, you'll enjoy this one. Now, what are some things? I like to even out the positive with a little bit of construction, a little bit of constructive criticism. So some things that I would criticize are the AI. The AI doesn't play very smartly. They can play very, very aggressively, and that can be it can pressure you and it can definitely challenge you, but most of the time it's either going to be you stomping the enemy or them stomping you. There's not a whole lot of battles where you're fighting to a stalemate in this game. Usually the map generator as well, it favors one over the other, and you learn to look at the map and be like, okay, this is not an even map. This is a map where I'm just going to get rolled out on. I am just going to end this having to go to the doctor and just crying in the shower for a few hours, because this is not going to end well, and so you end up not playing the game and just regenerating the map until you get one that's evenly spaced. Now, that goes in the opposite direction as well. The map generator can put things in your favor and make the game artificially too easy, and that's the opposite end of that, is you have games like the last one, which wasn't very difficult. I do wish the AI was a bit more aggressive with spell casting, because I know for a fact they have that mana laying around, but they don't seem to use it very often, and I wish that they did. I wish that they did. That out of the way, the game is fantastic, and it's only $2. It's on sale on Desura right now, so you should definitely check it out. It's very, very cheap for what you're getting. You will at least get 10 to 11 hours of gameplay out of this. If they put multiplayer in, or if somebody modded in multiplayer, I could see it getting a lot more traction. Playing this against another player who's actually on my level with a map generator that made even maps would be very, very cool. So once again, the game is called Reprisal. My name is Splattercat, and this has been a Splattercat's indie short of a game that I've liked very, very much, and I can wholeheartedly endorse to you. You should definitely check it out. And everything said, I hope you liked the footage. Put anything you would like to see in future reviews down in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Take care out there, everybody.